Ernie from Croakey here, and I'm talking to Professor Mick Dodson. We're in Cowra for what is actually a historic day in terms of research for the university, but also for the community and more broadly. Can you tell me about what is historic about what's happening today?
Okay, I'm Mick Dodson. I'm from the Australian National University, and we're engaged in a research project here at Cowra called Justice Reinvestment, and we've been at it for almost 3 years. And today is historic because one of the committees of the council is considering a recommendation of a resolution for council to invest in a justice reinvestment pilot program. Now, justice reinvestment is perhaps, as simply as I can put it, is the money you spend on locking people up for low-level crime, the money the government spends to put people through the correction system, through the courts, into the prison or youth detention centre, should be drawn back and put into community to provide services, facilities, infrastructure, to prevent people from going to jail in the first place. So it's really about preventing incarceration, preventing imprisonment for low-level crime, and using that money you would otherwise spend back in the community from where those offenders came from, and providing facilities there and services so they're kept out of trouble and become, again, citizens of that community who are worthwhile contributors, because you're working with them to get them skills, to get them jobs or get them through school. You've got activities that can keep them occupied outside school hours or work hours. You have places they can stay, you have halfway houses perhaps, you have hostels for young workers. You've got the business community on side, you've got the Shire on side, you've got the Land Council on side. You've got all the government departments at all levels engaged in the project. It's a simple. No, I don't think. I don't think a lot of people realise to keep a young person locked up in a juvenile detention centre for 12 months costs the taxpayers over $400,000 each. $400,000 each. You know, if Cowra's got 10 of them locked up, what's that? You do the maths. That's $4 million. Now, why not spend that money in the community doing good things that keeps those kids out of trouble? You're not going to keep everybody out of trouble. We're not that naive. There are some kids who are going to go off the straight and narrow. They're going to get into trouble. And we're not talking about keeping everybody out of prison, because there's some people who commit offences that are horrendous and they're a danger to society. They've got to be locked away. We're not talking about them. We're talking about people who can't pay their fines and get locked up for that, or people doing low-level crime, pinching a chocolate from the supermarket or something, that sort of thing. People oughtn't be in jail for that. We should try and fix that somehow so we're not spending inordinate amounts of money, billions of dollars in fact, in the country. I think it's upwards towards $4 billion we're spending on corrections. I'm not sure if that's the exact figure, but that's a lot of money.
A question...
And it's unsustainable, moreover.
A question in two ways. One is that the Senate considered justice reinvestment 3 years ago. It's a very well-established thing in the UK and the US, but it hasn't caught on in Australia. And so what's the problem with that? But also, when you say it's historic here, I know there is a justice reinvestment project happening at the moment in Burke. What's different about Cowra, and what do we need to do to get the word out?
Well, the difference between here and Burke is that Cowra is testing a model. It's firming up the methodology and building a model for establishing Justice Reinvestment. What we're not running a program in this project. What we're saying is, look, this is how you do it if you want to do it. And we have worked with the community, right across the community. As I mentioned at the start of this interview, all those people that have been involved, and including youth. I forgot to mention youth, but the youth were involved. And it's a community up process where the community says, well, this is how we'd like to see it look. This is what we think is the way to get this into our community. And the community, it's a community development model. It's a community that's developed the model. They're the ones who've built it with our guidance and with our research skills. But we're not building this model. This has come from the community.
You made the point in your presentation before at the forum that, in fact, the community's demands have been modest, but I presume you see them as very targeted.
Oh yes, and I also made the comment in the presentation that we're asking the people who are most affected about what the solution is. I'm a researcher for ANU, 180 kilometres away. I don't know what's good for Cowra, but I know the Cowra people will know what's good for them, or have a pretty good bloody idea what it is, and that's what they've told us. So this is what we need. The kids are saying, we need a halfway house, we need hostels, we need the local business to give us more employment, we need to change things at school, we need these skill sets, those skill sets. They've been telling us, and the parents have been telling us, the community members, the bureaucrats, the coppers, everybody's been involved in telling us what they think the needs are. And they're the best to know, because they're the ones most affected by the problems.
So if Council says yes tonight, what do you need next? Well,
Council has to establish the infrastructure to pilot the program. So Council, we hope, will pass a resolution, or the committee will tonight pass a resolution to recommend to Council that they start a pilot project. They'll have to have someone to manage it, and they'll have to raise some money to do it, obviously. It can't come out of the modest funds of the research to pay someone to manage them, but set up a community-based JR model for Cowra. So they'll lend on the research and the work that the community's already done and try and implement these things in a test, just to test it, see if it's going to work. It'd be too early to prejudge what that pilot would look like and how long it would run for, how it would be funded, all of those sorts of things. But getting the Council resolution is crucial and historic, because it's the only council in the whole country that we know of that's going to pass it. We hope are going to pass a resolution like this. It'll be the only one in Australia, And as you said at the start, there's things are happening in the US, particularly in Texas. Texas has, gone mad about this because they realise how much money they're spending that they would not be spending.
But it hasn't bitten here. Why has it not bitten here? We've got a lot of problem with overcrowding of prisons.
I don't know. I think, I don't know the answer to that question. But and what I would say is it would be mere speculation. But I think tough on crime politics is partly to blame for this, because it's ill thought out and as I said earlier, economically it's unsustainable. Taxpayers can't afford to be paying billions and billions of dollars to keep people in prison when we have a cheaper way of doing it. And Justice Reinvestment's one of them.
I would love to keep you chatting, but I think you're needed in the committee room. Thank you very much, Professor Mick Dodson.
It's been a pleasure, thank you.